by another day of service. As we gather here this morning, Father, we ask you to give us wisdom to understand your will for our lives, what we can do as a club, and the courage to follow through on those jobs. And always we give you thanks for the gift of your Son, Jesus, our Savior. We offer this prayer in his name.
Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. Mr. Honeycutt.
Yes. Good morning, Rotarians.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr.
Well, you'll have to excuse me. It takes a little bit to get started here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Steve.
Wayne.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. All right. First thing, we have guests this morning, and it's $1. You spoke out of turn. I need $1 from you.
All right.
I've already greeted you. Okay, we'll introduce the guests if you want to in the program.
Thank you, Mr. Conrad.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Oh, Phil Crick will pay your fine.
I've got,
Okay.
Let Phil do it.
Let Phil know. Let Phil know.
Let him fulfill.
I'm honored for
the opportunity to pay this fine.
Yeah, let Phil do it.
Yeah.
You're there.
Come here, lady.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Couple,
Thank you.
couple items. First of all, Richard, any announcement on Jake or anything here?
Yeah, I've got some Jake money, so.
Okay. If, for your information, Jake is our Rotary dog, and we have to collect money to feed him. And so right here is the owner of the dog, and he's
Rotary dog's pretty big.
Yeah.
Huge dog.
All right.
It's true.
All right, Lynn.
Yes, sir.
All right, have a question.
Oh, boy.
Okay,
Let me get my dollar out.
well, let's just wait a second first. All right, I remember you brought a bucket in here because you had to have your car serviced.
Yes, sir.
And where were you going to service your car? I can't remember.
I'm sorry?
Where were you planning to service your car?
Auto Fitness.
Auto Fitness, okay, Auto Fitness. Okay, did you get a special deal or anything?
No, I took
Okay,
it somewhere.
all right. All right, Lynn, Lynn, all right. Now, this one here is a card from Auto Fitness. And you can, it says, you can repair, maintenance service. If you spend $100, you get $25 off. If you spend $250, you get $50 off. And if you spend $750, you get $100 off, and it's an air conditioner check, all of this, and I want to give it to you.
Well, thank you.
Okay, now, that's an advertisement. I need $1 from you.
But
It's your company.
Yeah, he sent one to my wife, I don't appreciate it.
I know, I got
I'm gonna pay his dollar.
you. You're gonna pay his dollar.
Yeah, because I got a discount.
I have
I got a
friends.
discount the other day, because it, he gave me a discount because, I spent $8.
Right, and he gave you a discount.
Yeah, I want to give you a discount.
You're so generous. That is nice of you. Oh, Lynn, I'll take $1.
Yeah,
If you're giving me this. So,
Free labor for a year, what not?
You see,
Free labor for a year. Free labor for a year. That's only Christmas, yeah, we're looking forward to that one.
look at this. I mean, this is a great picture.
I will when this is over. Can you suggest
All
one?
of,
Yes.
all of the fit,
It's right in front of you.
all of the, I said it
You
twice,
see,
I need $1 more. I need
Yes, in the
$1.
room.
I said, why is this an advertisement?
Sort of reminds me of those calls.
Good.
And some of my friends in the room haven't even stuck up
They're
for
in
me.
trouble.
He's got a nice mural.
All right, Roger.
I think you gave me a discount.
Roger, you're being
Roger,
paid.
you.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Okay, this is dealing with Rotary. The International Convention coming up in 2020, where will it be held? I mean, Rick, you owe me $1.
I believe it's Hawaii.
Hawaii, that's good. Thank you. Rick,
Yes.
I need $2. Number one, to hold it up. Number two, not having his badge. He was flying, look.
I don't need no stinking
Look at
body.
this. All right, covered. All right.
I don't have any ones, so, and I couldn't give anything to Jake, so split it, you take 10, give him 10, and I'm covered for next week.
We'll cover it. All right, now let's see if there's another item that I can have. I know.
You lose control of it.
All right, Richard,
You
one
might
question.
get $1.
Yes.
Okay, you are well versed in Rotary. You've been on Rotary for how long? You have, okay.
That wasn't your question.
Not
That's
yet.
your job.
And we'll get into that. Now,
That's
the
why
question
you
is
asked
this.
how long.
Roger answered where the district convention, international convention will be held. Great. All right. Now, before long, we will have the district governor coming here. Who is the new district governor?
Roger Williams.
Roger Williams. No, he is not. 76, 70, no, 76, 70, our district governor.
Oh, that,
Yeah,
That's my imagination.
Oh, yeah, I know.
the name for it.
All right, I got $1 for you.
$1.
And also, I've got a backup. If you ask where she's from, what brother she's from, I'll just ask you one question. I didn't want that, you better give that, I'm gonna have two for you. See how easy to get money? Okay, great. All right. Phil, all right, Rotary moment, you have it, okay?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I'm on the schedule next week for the invocation.
Yes.
I will not be here because we're starting vacation. I'd like to know what that's gonna cost me.
Nothing, we got your back.
I think you'll be covered. I don't think we'll fine you for that.
You're going to be in vacation.
We will have someone else to cover that for you. That's a legitimate, and you're organized to tell us in advance. No fine. Good deal. All right. President Rick, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Sergeant at Arms. In case you hadn't figured out, Guy, this is our second biggest fundraiser. His fundraiser.
Can we discuss Conrad real quick?
Not in front of, I guess. Glad you had the program today. Richard, I'm sorry. Richard has a program.
I have the program today.
Thank you.
Let me introduce my program today. And program today is about the Good Samaritan Closet, which is started by Catawba Memorial Foundation, which is headed by Catarino. And then also Stephanie Chapman is from the Department of Social Services, which looks after the Good Samaritan Closet. And what that's about is about helping people at the hospital for whatever their needs are. And I won't take up that time. I'll let them talk about that. So please welcome Guy and Stephanie.
Okay, yeah, I don't need to get behind the podium. First of all, greetings from our Hickory Rotary Club, our Thursday Club. And I appreciate all the fundraising that goes on here. I do that for a living, so if you have any extra time, we'll go to rooms anywhere. So, but I'm the Chief Development Officer at Top Valley Health System. We are an independent hospital. We're one of fewer than 10 remaining independent hospitals in the state. We're an entity of the county, but we receive no tax support. So we're probably fewer than 10 of independent hospitals that receive no support. Self-sufficient, so we're real proud of that. This is the same shameless promotion piece, and then we'll get to Good Samaritan's Closet. But I would like to, y'all may not know this, but Dr. Toy here is our Chief of Staff this year, so that's a big deal. I mean, thank you. It's a lot of time. So, but we're glad to be of service to our community here. Everything that we do, we give back to our community. And that's our only charge. So our money doesn't go anywhere else. My role is to raise funding to support new equipment, facilities, programs that keep us viable. And it's not always an easy job, but I enjoy it because it's great talking about the hospital. Our main focus at the hospital is really to heal and care for our patients and their families. So we're proud to do that. We had over 2,000 births, I believe, last year. We birthed about 80% of the babies in this area. Unfortunately, we had over 60,000 ER visits that continues to grow. So we have our challenges moving forward. In hospitals, it's usually anything to do with the legislator. Now, a stroke of a pen can change our reality pretty quickly. But we're proud to be here. As Richard mentioned, a couple of years ago, really one of our most dear donors, and I think a lot of he and his wife, stepped up to fund this idea of a Good Samaritan's Closet. And Since then, we've been able to continually fund it by reaching out to the physicians for an end-of-year appeal, and they've been very generous with their money as well. So we've probably raised close to $80,000 now for the program. And as Richard said, we fill the gaps. There's so many people that come into a hospital, and they may not all be indigent, but they may have just gaps in coverage and things of that nature. So they may come in with clothes that we have to cut off. They need clothing to leave. You know, who wants to leave in a hospital gown? They may need a walker or a toilet seat or oxygen or a wheelchair. It can be numerous things. And our social workers, they work tirelessly first to get some of that stuff donated by vendors in the area. But then they have this closet to help meet the needs of that patient. And so it's been well received. I mean, we're 60% Medicaid, Medicare, and self-pay at the hospital. So we see a lot of people in need. And so this has been a blessing. That's what I'll call it. It's just been a true blessing to have in place. And we hope it continues forevermore, long past my watch anyway. But that's the end of the boring part of the conversation. I'm going to introduce Stephanie Chapman. She's got so many letters behind her name. Just use the alphabet. But Stephanie's our administrator of our medical surgical service line, as well as the social workers are a part of that. So she's going to tell you some stories. So, Stephanie?
I have to build on what Guy was just talking about. About 2 weeks before Guy called me about the Good Samaritan Closet, the social workers came into my office and they said, you know, we have a need. We have patients that come in through the emergency department. Before they have a safe discharge home, they may need a wheelchair, they may need a walker, just, you know, in order to have that safe discharge. So they said, can we go to yard sales and go to consignment shops and look for wheelchairs and bedside commodes? And I'm getting that legal hat on for the hospital and thinking, hey, if there's a screw missing and somebody falls, who's liable? And I was like, this really makes me nervous. But let me talk to our risk management department director. So then Guy calls, and it was like, okay, thank you, because that was the answer that we needed. So what we started was the Good Samaritan Closet. So we have a closet that has wheelchairs, bedside commodes, nebulizers for people that need breathing treatments, clothes, shoes, shower chairs, the basic things that people need for that safe discharge home. People that can't afford those things. If you need a wheelchair, $200, you know, that's the difference between, you know, having a safe discharge home or buying your medication. So that's how it started. Then it started to expand to other things. And those things included, let me back up and tell you this. The social workers, when a patient's admitted, the nurses, we do a social consult. So we look at, are there any barriers to discharge or barriers to the patient's care based off of social issues, whether it's financial or it could be transportation, it could be they're living in an unsafe environment. So based off of that, social work is then consulted, and then they work with that patient in order to have that safe transition home. They use community resources. Social workers are great for knowing what kind of resources are available for patients. But sometimes we don't have the resources for different reasons. Some patients are either, you know, they're too young for federal or state help, or they may have that cutoff point. If you make more than $1,300, you're not eligible for funds. So there's different reasons why people don't qualify for the community resources, or sometimes it's just not even there. And one guy that we had, he worked at a local grocery store. He's in his early 20s. He was a diabetic, or he is a diabetic. And he kept coming into the hospital because his diabetes was uncontrolled. And it was like, okay, what's going on with him? So after talking with him and finding out what he was doing, he was just taking half of his insulin dose. those, because he was trying to make it stretch through the month. He's one of those that makes right at $1,300 or, less right there, more a month, so he didn't qualify for a lot of assistance. So what the social workers did, there's a lot of programs out there. There's a lot of programs through pharmaceutical companies, but you have to apply for it, and it takes time, to get approval. So they came to me and they said, can we use the closet to purchase 1 month of his insulin? And we said, yes, we can do that. That's been over a year, and he hasn't been back in the hospital. And this was somebody that was coming in frequently because his diabetes was being out of control. So another one, I have to tell you this one, Dr. Toy, this is in your neighborhood. We had this young woman, she was Hispanic, she came to the hospital ready to deliver. And she was left there by her significant other. He left her. So she spoke no English, she had been in the States long. She knew no one here. So she's here completely by herself. All this was transitioning on a weekend. So trying to find resources on a weekend is a little bit more difficult. So anyway, the social worker that works on the weekend, she was called. And, they come in, if it's an uncomplicated birth, well, you're home within 24 hours, right? So it all happens pretty fast. So, do you need to collect some more money?
I'm assuming that's what that means.
I'm glad I forgot my phone at home. So anyway, what happened with it? She had nothing. She had no diapers. She had nothing for this baby to go home with. So our social worker got involved. She contacted some people in the Hispanic community here in Catawba County. She went out, and she called me first, and she said, can I get her the basic stuff for her to go home with? I said, absolutely. So we got diapers, we got, the outfits. Forget not onesies, but, the clothes. We got wipes, we got a pack and play for the baby to sleep in. The basic care needs is what she needed, and we provided those on a Sunday for her to leave the hospital with what she needed. But the one that probably touched my heart since we've been doing this was a young family. He was in his 30s. He's married, he has 2 young children, and living life, just like we all do. And he was diagnosed with throat cancer. So he eventually lost his job because, after the surgery, radiation, chemo, all that kind of stuff, he ended up losing his job, so his wife was the only one working. And when the patients come into the oncology unit, since we're an accredited cancer center, the social workers do a distress screening. And that determines how much stress an individual is under because of their disease process. His was pretty high. Anyway, so they were at the verge of losing a lot. And I had a nurse tell me one time, an oncology nurse, say that most people are one cancer diagnosis away from losing everything and having bankruptcy. Cancer drugs are they're very expensive. Most people live paycheck to paycheck. And these people were doing great. I mean, they had a home, they both were working. Like I said, they were living life. And so anyway, they ended up going down to one vehicle. They had a lot of family support, a lot of church support. The family were actually coming together to help pay the house payment. The church was coming together to help pay utilities, and like I said, they had 2 small children. So when the social worker was talking to them, and with that whole distress screening, saying, what's your biggest challenge right now? What do you feel like is causing you the most anguish? And they said, we're afraid we're going to get behind on our car payment. And that's the only car we have right now. That's the only means that the wife has to get to the only job that they have in the family. So because they have tapped out all of their resources, the social workers asked if we could pay the car payment. And we agreed to do that. And you would have thought we had given them $1 million. it was like, it took so much off of them. And I could sit here today and I could tell you story after story. We have helped hundreds of people. Something from paying a car payment to buying a pair of shoes. And everyone, like we told Guy one time, we would love to be able to video the reactions that we get from patients and families. So this is something that was started by the foundation through very generous people that has really helped our community and helped our hospital. And we've been very blessed. So I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you about it today, because like I said, it's been something that has really helped a lot. Yeah. Anybody have any questions or?
You do take clothes.
Yes,
Right.
we actually, our biggest challenge right now is we don't have a lot of space. You know, the hospital hopefully is gonna be doing some renovations in the near future, and we'll be getting, but yes, we do take clothes, especially things that are loose fitting, like sweatpants, something that would, you know, give a little bit to, but yes, we do. Thank you.
How do people donate clothes, let's say? I mean, somebody's got some clothes, what would they?
You could call the hospital and ask for the foundation, or ask for me personally, and I would be glad to help you with that.
Oh.
What about something like a CPAP?
The CPAP, it would have to be, I don't know about that, I would have to find out about that, like a brand new CPAP or a used CPAP. I can find out about that through our clinical technology, but that is something that could definitely be.
We haven't had that need yet.
We have not, but they're a few $100. I know that. They're expensive.
Yeah, so I would say yes to that. That's for that person.
Too being.
Yes.
Absolutely.
What about walkers?
Walkers, we work with, can't remember the name of the company that has been very.
Other durable medical.
Yeah, the Durable Medical Equipment Company. It's off, I'll think about it here in a second. They've been very generous in helping us keeping the costs down, but yes, those things are very much.
Of course, you have to have one of your respiratory maintenance people check the CPAPs out, so.
Yes, yes. But it's an easy, that's something that they can do. It's not.
Oh, yes. I can do it myself, but I'm not certified any longer. Yes.
It's gonna, trend probably.
What was the question? Or what was the answer? Yes.
Well, let me ask something. I'm in the nonprofit business, and sometimes people will donate stuff, but would it not be better for you for us to donate money rather than clothes? Because what's good for, what's my standard may not be the standard that you need, and oftentimes, people will donate something that now you have to clean it. That's become an expense for you.
Yes, you're exactly right. We would love anything that we can get. It's nice to be able to purchase it ourselves because it's on the individual basis. I'm gonna give you an example. We had one of our oncologists, he had this patient for a very, very long time. And the patient he had lost so much weight, and his clothes were just hanging on him. And the oncologist came by to the nurse and laid down $40 and said, "Here, go buy him some clothes before he goes home," because I mean everything's just hanging on. And she said, "No, we can get this through the Good Samaritan Closet." So through the Good Samaritan Closet, we purchased him the right size clothes that he needed. So it is easier to do it that way, because then we keep because we are very challenged with storage. But like I said, I'm not, we'll take anything that's offered, but then we can buy it based off of the individual.
Which building are you guys in?
We are in the tower,
In the main.
in the main tower. Social work is spread throughout the hospital basically, but we do have one room that's on the 5th floor that we share with dialysis, on Fresenius, that we actually have dialysis machines in for the equipment, like the wheelchairs. We have a ready supply for patients that, like I said, are coming in through the emergency department 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then they need a safe discharge home, and if it means giving them a walker or a wheelchair, we have that.
And then the foundation offices, in case we need to meet, I'm right off the main lobby, so you can give me a call 10 minutes in advance and I can meet you there. So, I'll be glad to do it.
Any other questions for Guy and Stephanie? Speaking of donating, Don and everybody else, on the bulletin, at the end of the write-up about the program in italics is how individuals can donate and what we can donate if you want to help. On the front page, first page. This one.
Bottom right.
Oh, yeah.
Guy and Stephanie, we have a gift for each of you.
Oh, thank you.
Stephanie, we get a picture too. Speakers who come and present to us are very fortunate to get handmade coasters that say Hickory Sunrise Rotary, and they're handmade by our Sergeant at Arms, Wayne Honeycutt. Stephanie, Guy, thank you both very much for doing
Thank you both. Yes.
Thank you.
We have a business meeting at this time, so feel free to
Okay.
leave if you'd like to.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Obviously, y'all can take this with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
My thanks, first of all, thanks to Richard for the write-up. Very good. This is the kind of thing we need, and Glenn has next week's program. And when you know you have your program, get the write-up to Gavin and me and Kenny, or one of the three of us. And it'll eventually get to Kenny for the printer. And just so you know, Gavin has taken on responsibility of page 2, and of course on page 3 I'll always have a from the president thing, and we try to keep the back up to date. That's Rhino's job. He's doing a good job with that. But speaking of, you have somebody you want to discuss.
I do. We brought up last week that Rob Conrad hasn't paid in 4 billing periods. Do we want to send him a drop dead letter?
What is he contributing to our club?
At this time, nothing, other than watching the video occasionally. I'll get a message from him that he's seen it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he just wanted to stay in touch.
It's 3 previous plus the 1 now.
Okay.
What does that cost us to keep somebody on the roster?
Most of the $60 a
Well,
quarter.
that's in and
Six-
out.
$60 plus the district dues, yeah.
$62.50 now,
60.
a quarter.
Significant.
And I think it's important, Donald was able to, in his great year, increase our membership pretty good. But I think we need to clean up the roster so we know we have an accurate count, so that we can build on that for this coming year.
The only 2 we're carrying as, and not costing us anything, maybe other than the magazine, is Yapundich and Austin.
Your bondage is paying his,
Yeah, yeah.
the way you need.
Well, we cut a deal with Yapundich to
Exactly.
liquidate his
Yeah. There
obligation.
was a deal, yeah.
So he has no ongoing
That's
obligation.
correct. Based on the club vote.
We just keep him on the email list to keep him advised of what we're
No,
doing.
we're not paying $62.50 a
No,
quarter for him.
no,
Okay,
no.
not-
Him or Rochelle.
Right.
Rick, if we would drop Conrad, he can always petition back to the
Oh,
club
yeah.
to be a member.
He keeps his Rotary number forever.
It is costing us to pay his dues,
Right.
and I would recommend dropping him, because
And I-
he hasn't been active in several years. we're still paying for it.
Is that the consensus of the group?
Has anybody talked to him, by the way? Because he had been paying very regularly, and I'm very surprised about
Something may
this.
have happened, life may have.
I think maybe, his email is his work, and I suspect his job situation may have changed.
And if he watches the videos, he's hearing this. We're keeping him on the email list so he stays in the loop of stuff. And then he can communicate with us if there's any concerns or any changes.
I guess it's a great one, too.
Friendly amendment not to call it a drop dead letter, if that makes sense.
That's a very good comment, thank you.
Thank you.
A separation letter.
He was a very, very good member.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing, what we would be doing is putting him on notice.
Yeah.
Could we have someone, communicate with him in
Who's
some
the
way?
sponsor?
So that we are not presuming, as Steve said, life could happen and anything,
Charter member.
you know.
Yes, he was.
He was a charter member, but he has missed 5 quarters of payment, is that correct?
4.
3 previous,
And
and
now-
now I just
now
sent
this is
1
okay.
this, so it's actually 3
I
previous.
tried to look up his sponsor, and I couldn't because he's a charter member.
That's right.
Rick, why don't you reach out to
I'll
him?
be glad to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, why don't you have that conversation?
Well, he can, like you say, he can always come back
Yes.
easily with not,
And if it's an email issue, just please, send to me the new email, because I'm using what we have. It hasn't been returned.
Yeah,
It hasn't
yeah.
said it's.
I'll contact you.
It hasn't
And it
bounced back.
hasn't, but I didn't get a response. But he's usually very good about paying, and that just really surprised me.
Yeah.
That's why I said we need to find out.
How does the keeping people on a rotary, an honorary listing, on our list as an honorary, how does that affect whether we're a small, medium, large club? Does that change our
It
numbers?
doesn't. Registered member is the only thing that counts.
Okay. So last year, I just noticed there were 2 honorary members. So in truth, last year, we were not a medium club, we were a small club. Even by old standards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why we got the award.
and we're still a small club.
so could he be?
I thought we did not get 3 in a row because we moved from being a small club
Well,
to a medium
when
club.
we didn't get it, we were a medium-sized club. When we didn't get it.
But last year, during your tenure, we were a small club again. Now we're micro.
Can he be an honorary member?
So why is Robert not paying his dues? I must have missed something. That's what
He's an honorary member.
Oh, your pundit. Which
Ha-
Robert? Your pundit, your pundit.
He's an honorary member.
What is the benefit of having somebody be an honorary member?
It lets us stay in contact with them, and it lets us let them know that we still want them to be part of us. That's basically it.
Or can we let Rob be an honorary member?
I do not bill honorary members,
No.
because that was the,
Right,
that
yeah.
was the arrangement.
Are we paying the international dues for them, being honored?
I only pay for what Bob refers to as
Registered.
registered
Good.
members.
Maybe we need to revisit that at some point.
I think I agree. Yeah, I'm not sure how that came about. And I know part of the discussion was, let's not lose people who have been good if life gets in the way sometimes, have an avenue open for them to come back, which is what we want to do.
Absolutely.
You know,
But,
the only excess we're taking with that privilege is you should only carry an honorary member on your books for 1 year. And then you either promote them, pass them, or send them on to somebody else.
that would be revisiting it, how we
Yeah.
handle it then. So let's,
That would be part of our bylaws.
let me contact Rob first and see what he wants, then we can visit the issue of honorary. But I agree, carrying, we could end up with 35 honorary people eventually, or
Well-
carrying forever here.
Robert was at my house a couple of days ago, and,
Comment was?
no, your pundit.
Oh, you punched, okay, yeah.
And we were chatting a little bit about Rotary, and that's why I'm, he's very able to pay his dues, and that's why I don't understand why we're not taking advantage of that. But let me have a conversation,
Okay.
or let's have a conversation, and then we'll.
Yeah, and make him aware when you talk to him that as long as he's looking at the videos, he's getting full membership credit.
Yeah.
I mean, attendance credit.
Yeah, plus he's
But what we would want to hope for any kind of a civic club is participation and in projects and reaching out and helping. And it's nice that we're carrying a few people on honorary, but we're not getting participation. And they're getting the benefits of our email exchanges and information and videos, but what's our benefit?
One other thing, Rob Condry doesn't live in Hickory, he lives close to Winston now. And he's been there when he moved, and it's very difficult with his job being in Winston.
I will suggest to him, if he's interested in Rotary, to transfer his membership.
Yeah, and he hasn't asked for that.
Okay.
And Rochelle tried, but then she gave up trying to transfer because she couldn't find a home that she likes watching our emails, our videos.
Bob?
Changing gears for the upcoming dance, did we decide anything about a silent auction? Because
I have that on my list to ask right now, and let's go to that right now. All right, because what I want to do is get a sense or a feel how many of you can contribute to a silent auction. By that I mean, do you know someone, something, some organization, some company from which you could get an item for a silent auction? How many of you know you positively can? I think it's worth a shot.
Absolutely.
I think it's worth a shot.
Absolutely.
Let's give it a try. So yes, Bob, we will do a silent auction.
Okay.
And I'll follow with more the specific instructions and requests to our membership.
Did you raise your hand?
Me?
Yeah. Those three
I've got
Steve
someone that I will
have
work
some
with, but
ideas, and I'm
Yeah.
about definite.
Okay, all right.
Nancy, did you raise your hand?
I did too.
I got you. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8.
And other people who are thinking.
And that's
Right now.
decent, that's
That's
decent.
the main thing.
And we're agreed, just as a matter of administration, that we'll receive the payments there before the end of the show with Glenn's Square.
Yeah,
Or checked or whatever.
Phil and his bride usually spearhead that the night of the dance, so, and they do a great job. They only take 10%
That's right.
of the action, so,
That's how we go on these trips.
that's right.
Hey, Bob, can we get a bunch of these and put them out in the
Just
silent
ask
auction?
Glenn, arrange anything you want.
Okay, the silent auction, and we may be able to sell
Yeah,
some.
the other thing is the promotional tickets for the silent auction, Kenny's willing to print once we know we're gonna have it and what we're gonna have. So we need to get that out to increase our advertising.
Yeah, I remember now, just guys, when you think about this, think outside the box a little bit, because a few years ago, Steve Hunt came up with it was a long weekend to Gatlinburg or
Yeah.
something like that, and boy, they really fought for that.
Yeah.
That was a good item.
Yep.
Yep, that was,
Hilton Head.
Yeah.
And they fought all night long, one would outdo the other by $10, and go back and look and see, and, yeah, it was great, so.
I started off though with 1,200 and something.
That's called salt, you know.
Meeting on the 28th.
Meeting 28th?
Yeah, the thing you sent out. Anybody want to go to the Rotary Leadership Institute?
Oh.
It'll specifically cover DAC-DB, club membership development, officer development. I'll have to be there. I'm shooting video of the presenters, so that we're going to develop a video library of these presentations, so you don't have to go to all these meetings. You can pick up the video and look at it. So,
Good idea.
and that was Tiffany's idea, by the way, the new Rotary 7670
Tiffany,
district chair.
When she comes, check out her shoes.
Oh, yeah, she's a shoe hog. I mean, Imelda Marcos incarnate.
Might need that.
Speaking of,
Oh.
and that's the 28th?
Yes, that's the 28th at AB Tech, which you
That's
haven't
next
heard.
Wednesday?
Yes.
September 28th.
September 28th, that's right. I'm gonna-
And the only advantage of going with me is wind your way around to get to AB
Yeah.
Tech's auditorium. We do have, and I've got to call Steve and find out why they haven't shown up. We're getting these as coffee mugs. to put in our cup holders in our cars. They're on their way. I should have had them by now. I think he's lost my address, I suspect, but anyhow, they should be here. That's it. That's it, I think that's all the unused business.
Go ahead, Bill.
On the silent auction, I'll go ahead and volunteer to do the bid sheets for those.
Okay.
I'll have to do some of that prep while we're on the road, but that's okay. We're both carrying laptops and stuff because we never know when work may provide us an opportunity to
Are you
help out.
biking or driving?
Oh, we're pulling a camper as far as Canada, all over the place. Anyway, when you get an item, I'll need to know the retail value of the item. If you have an idea of how the bidding might go, like a suggested start or minimum bid increment, provide that. If you don't, we'll probably start the bidding at about half the retail value and a bid increment that would provide an opportunity for at least 10 bids between start and retail value. We had discussed putting in a buy it now sort of an option. And if we continue with that, I would suggest that's like either retail value or maybe 20% over retail value. Anybody that's I haven't had experience with it. Somebody had experience at an auction where they had to buy
I
it
think
now?
it was the retail value.
Retail value, okay.
Or right, very close to it.
Okay, we'll consider that. So we'll have bid sheets for each item. We'll close the auction at a reasonable time, probably at the, how many, Bob, will we have one or two breaks from the band? One break. About what time would that be?
An hour and 15 minutes in.
Okay, well, we got this nailed down.
And we'll keep
It's on the contract.
the goods we're gonna show, or the pictures of them out in the lobby area where we have the food as well.
Yes, yeah.
As before.
The date again, Rick?
The 11th. It's Friday.
7 o'clock.
Whatever time we normally do, I guess.
I think we said that's when the dancing was started. I did put a watch this space kind of keep the date up on the Facebook page.
So probably on the 50/50 then, we will probably not be hawking tickets during the break.
Right.
Because we're gonna pull the 50/50 and close the silent auction at the same time.
That's the only break we have, so at the end of the dance, nobody's gonna stay.
Right.
So let's do everything during the break.
Can I ask people, anybody who's on Facebook or whatever, to go to the Facebook page and share it? I think you did, Paul.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if you share it, then it gets out to far more people than just those that are
It's
signed up to
spreads.
the page.
Very good idea. All right, thank you. We're having our first stand-down meeting today, and I want to let them know whether or not our club is going to do the lunch again.
All right.
Everybody okay with that? Okay, well, Richard.
Well, I wanted to ask about the food for the dance. I don't know that we settled on that, although I know your copy that you sent on Rotary indicated that, yes, we were gonna do the barbecue, but are we indeed gonna do the barbecue?
I apologize, I thought we had settled that.
Okay, well.
Is anybody diametrically opposed to that?
We're gonna use your cooker and your keg, right?
Yeah.
And in our efforts are working.
But there has to be other things that go along with that.
Yeah, and we'll make a list of those, plus we're gonna be the servers,
Okay.
unless you wanna get Rotary involved. or something like
Let's
that.
let Rotary.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's fine. Be a good,
We always give them a little something.
be a good project for them then.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I mentioned to them that we want them to be part of keeping the obelisk nice. We had a meeting with them 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And they're on board to do that
Thank you.
as well.
Perfect. Anything else for the good of the? Richard? Yes, sir.
I want to make the point that I don't want this break to live with people. And if if they keep it more than 5 days, it's gonna cost them a $5 fine.
5 days or 5 meetings?
5 meetings, yes, 5 meetings. It's gonna cost them a $5 fine.
I think $5 fine
Now-
is fair.
Now, if it's one of my sponsors, then obviously I'm not paying that $5. I just wanna get that,
You bring up a good point. There ought to be a statute of limitations on how often sponsors have to keep paying for the people that they sponsor.
yeah, I'm still paying for charter members.
I thought it had been 1 year.
I thought it was, but he keeps mentioning I gotta pay for Joe every time Joe.
But the other question is, why does Ryan still have the brick when he brought in Ron?
Ryan has the brick now. Now, it's your job to give it to someone else.
Somebody want the brick?
Now,
Ha!
And nobody wants the brick.
Wait, you don't get rid of it until you bring someone.
He brought Ron.
He did bring his father-in-law.
His father-in-law.
And he's kept it this long since his father-in-law came in?
Yeah.
That ought to be.
He didn't know to give it up.
Oh, okay, all right. So you just pick somebody and give it to them?
Okay.
Yeah.
How about Sergeant at Arms?
You're gonna be laughing.
I'd be stocking up on dollar bills. One last thing, I'm on vacation next week, so Ryan will be taking my place here.
Well, the things we
Think, say, or do. Is the truth? Is it fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?